Hello and welcome to episode 321 of the Awesome Comics Podcast, a place where the small press makes one hell of a big noise. I'm Vince Hunt, creator of Murder Road, and joining me as always is the creator of the webcomic Vanguard, Dan Butcher.
Hello.
And the comic Mart commando that is Tony Esmond.
Black Diamond, Dark Intruder.
And if you think that's sensible, then get used to the rest of the show because it's just the three of us this week.
Issue 5. I've just sent you the cover.
Yeah. I see that now.
And
cover.
She's like a Black Canary style character.
Yeah, but facing the camera as always.
Yeah.
With a great white shark
and a small knife.
Is that a great white? Or is that just a generic shark? You know how sometimes in comics you just get a generic shark, don't you? Generic shark.
It's got the trappings
Shark
of a
racism.
great white shark, but it's not
Sharkist.
Yeah. Sybil Danning, is it supposed to be fashioned after her then?
Yeah, she's it's based on her. She has a little photo montage in the back, which I'll send you as well.
So
Sybil Danning photos inside.
So this just to clear this up for anyone thinking, what on earth are they talking about immediately? This is an issue you picked up from the Comic Mart today, wasn't it, Tony?
I did. I went to the Comic Mart. It's very exciting. First time since lockdown.
And it's Black Diamond, which is based on Sybil Danning?
Yeah, it's about her. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I think it's based on her. It's sort of inspired by her, at least, I think. By AC Comics. So they were the same people who were doing... I think they did Femme Force back in the day, didn't they? And I think they are the owners of the product Femme Fresh.
It's weird, because whenever I think Sybil Danning, I'd imagine her fighting underwater with a great big shark.
Me too.
It's classic.
Yeah.
Classic
Late
Sybil.
at night, I think a lot about it.
Yeah.
Fighting with a giant pink worm, 80.
Yay! I'm just sending you the inside pictures of her glamour pictures.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Do you know we
She
can
was
get
in
some...
V. I didn't realise that.
Yeah, she was one of the villains in it, yeah.
Ah, okay. There we go.
Before we get too far off the beaten track, and we've got a couple of interesting topics to talk about this week, about the comics landscape. We like to revisit the barren
it's
apocalypse.
Three Amigos show.
Yeah, the barren wasteland, apocalyptic wasteland that is the comics landscape. I'm only joking, of course.
It's
we
like
love it.
It's like The Walking Dead, but rather than zombies, you just got people arguing with each other a lot.
Yeah.
And
And
I don't want to go out and get in an argument.
We're just the guys we're like the Mad Max Fury Road. So we're playing instruments that also breathe fire.
Yeah, and eat from tins of beans that we found.
Yeah. Oh, I don't like beans.
Do you not like beans?
No, I hate them.
Sweet
But
corn, then.
you know what
Cold
I like?
food.
Do you know what I do? Do you know what I do like?
Hoops? Is it hoops?
Are you talking about like the pasta shapes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like spaghetti hoops.
Alphabetti spaghetti.
Yeah.
There you go. It's a bit of a Red Dwarf joke for you there.
Yeah.
All you. I don't know. I'm not going to muck up the name because I know there's definitely a name for Red Dwarf fans, aren't there?
Oh, is there? Okay, I like Red Dwarf.
Yeah, I love Red Dwarf. Yeah,
I read the novels there, and they were really nice. I like them.
Yeah. I also love
what else
our
I've been through
sponsor.
likes.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
they don't do crack like Craig Charles used to.
No,
Allegedly.
Apparently.
but they do.
ACP lawyers jumping in there.
But they do supply us, like we have them. But they do supply us with our drugs, and that is indie comics.
Comic books.
Yes.
Yes.
Because Comic House are our sponsor, and they are an indie comic marketplace that loves indie comics as much as we do. We're not going to fight about it. There's not going to be like a over the top sort of like arm wrestling competition.
Who loves them the most?
Yeah.
Who's the biggest cuddler?
Yeah. Well,
It'd be Vince. He likes cuddle.
I love a cuddle. Also, if you go to comichouse.com, you'll see a huge selection of great titles on their database. If you self-publish, you can list your book on there as well, and it's just another avenue of getting your work out there. But they also have an app, and it's amazing. There's loads of stuff being added all the time. They've got featured sections, and like it's a subscription service, cheap as chips, and you get access to. Well, Dan, what's on there at the moment?
Well, continuing the drug metaphors, I've put the
Thankfully,
belt on the arm.
few. Yeah.
I've slapped your veins up, and I'm about to inject a dose of comics into your ass. We've got.
Hold on.
A bit of a mixed metaphor.
What? Hold on. Where are the veins in your ass?
Yeah.
There's
There's got to be blood vessels in there somewhere.
Well, yeah, there's veins everywhere if you think about it. Oh, but we digress. Carry on, Dan.
Okay,
sorry.
we've got Hauntings, a collection of 9 lessons in hauntings by Lisa April Amelia. We've got the Taybridge Disaster, fucked up the name again, Moon Puke.
.com.
And we've got The Spirit of Enki 2, Sketchbook 2, Awesome Drink and Draw, Friday 2021 to July 2021 by our friend JWC. And we had a drink and draw just Friday gone, which we'll talk more about in a minute. And there's a whole slew of other titles that you can get on
You
Comic.
love the word slew, don't you?
I do.
It's one of your faves. Yeah. You're a man of many words, Mr. Butcher, but that's a favourite of yours, I noticed.
It's a shame I can't deploy them quite as well as I'd like.
Do you ever say words during sex that you've really wanted to say?
Well, if I want to speak to my wife during sex, I have to ring her up, which is.
I have to get up and go home.
Oh my god,
That'd be funny. Having sex with your missus and then ringing her and saying drunkenly, and then ringing her and saying, "Oh, I won't be long. Yeah, I'm here. Oh shit, yeah."
But basically, Comic House is like Netflix for comics.
Love Comic House.
We love them.
Having sex with your mistress.
Pete, if you want to use that as a testimonial, you could use it as a testimonial, but make sure that it's from anonymous.
We are anonymous.
We should be. But Comic House, there's all that stuff and more. Only £3 a month, you get access to that and more. Loads of great stuff on there. So go to comichouse.com, find out more about your 14-day free trial, and just start reading indie comics like we all should be. Yes. Huzzah! There you go. I ended the sponsorship ad with a huzzah, which Tony probably shouted to the top of the rooftops.
Where are we going with this?
As you actually revisited
the Comic Mart.
You entered the Comic Mart, a place you haven't been in. How long?
God, year and a half. No, more than that now, isn't it? How long have we been locked down for? It's almost about a year and a half,
we were locked down for about a year, weren't we? Sort of.
Yeah, and then we had that bit of an extra bit. I don't know if they had a Comic Mart during that bit, so I don't know. Yeah, anyway, almost 2 years. Yeah, I missed it. Yeah, I went there today. It was a sweet and sour experience. I went there with Mr. Falp. The queue was long. I tell you what, it was long. It was all the way out because you can't queue inside anymore. You know, we've been there before when you got that queue inside and you can pay extra to get in at 11, which we did because this is just worth it. And the queue was all the way down towards. I think it must have almost been at Russell Square.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and the reason being is they've So previously,
talking about horrible infectious diseases.
Talking about what will eventually be the death of us is they used to just have a Comic Mart, and then every other month or so they'd have one side would be the Comic Mart of the big hall, and the other would be like a Funko thing. But now it's kind of intermingled a bit, so there's Funkos and comic stalls next to each other. So there was a lot of people there just for sort of rare I don't know what you call them, rare Funko, whatever.
I bet they do that so you don't fucking crush it, because they would, if they put all the Funkos in one area, that area would just be jammed up, surely.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, and you maybe get a bit of casual footfall from, And there was even, I've never seen cosplayers at it before. There was cosplayers at it as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's
only a couple, but more sort of. I don't even know. What's that one with the free Hugsy type fucking anime manga thing?
One Punch Man?
No, the
One Piece.
One
Piece. Yeah. There was. I think there was like a One Piece one there, and not many. There's only a couple, but it was.
That's a strange thing, because that's an odd one. Fair play to them. If they want to go dressed up, you do what you do. You.
Yeah.
But it was mostly people my age and older, and a couple of ladies. There bumped into Delia. I went with Falpy, bumped into Delia, who's a buddy of ours. But it was all right. It was masked inside, which is nice to see. There was no checks. There was no we keep hearing, you can only get into football games if you can prove you're double vaccinated or you've done a flow test or something. There wasn't any of that. But you did have to wear a mask inside. Yeah. I noticed that quite a few people behind the tables weren't wearing masks, weirdly. Okay. Yeah, it's a bit strange.
Considering the smell in some spots of that, I think the mask is a blessing.
Yeah. Yeah, and the diseases that are flying around there,
COVID ain't got a chance.
Yeah, noticeably a few stalls were missing. So the
some of the more minor ones that you normally
regular ones, yeah. So Dead Universe tends to be there. You usually see Ian from there and a couple of his helpers. And there's a bloke who's been at these for absolutely decades. I remember him so far back. He was selling dodgy VHS of like recent movies at the cinema, and now he's always been it, but he wasn't there today, so I don't know what happened there.
Oh man,
yeah.
I hope it isn't getting cleaned up, if you know what I mean. Because it used to be like back in the day, you go to a boot sale and there'd be some geezers selling dodgy VHSs, and you could buy all manner of shit. But nowadays they're very kind of.
Yeah, I wonder if it's because they had the sort of slightly more sort of wholesome crowd of Funko teenagers and stuff, Maybe there's a bit of that. But he wasn't there. And I have seen him for absolutely decades. He's been at that. There's still loads of 25p, 50p, 75p pound boxes. Still sort of that. Did all that. I was showing you the RoboCop issues I got.
Yeah.
50p, I think those ones were. And also loads of like high-end, expensive comics. There was a geezer chatting about some early Spider-Mans, some Ditko Spider-Mans, and they were multiple thousands, handing them over and looking at the edges of them and all this sort of stuff,
I'm surprised they brought that kind of stock along, I'd have thought they said, well, if you want to buy that, you have to go to the shop or something. I don't know.
In fact, weirdly, I heard this bloke talking about it. He said he didn't have a shop and he didn't have an eBay, and this is what he does. So I don't know if that's the only place he goes. He's a regular guy. I can't think of what his name is, but I often buy off him. I bought a load of Batman and Superman family issues off him, like high-grade stuff. I had a look at some Silver Surfer 2s, the Buscema book, and one was 95 and one was 160. Just wanted to have a look at them, and they were nice copies, but all the wall books were interesting, all the sort of early Swamp Things, or Giant Size X-Men, all these sort of books, the sort of key books. And people were coming up. There's quite a few dealers, stroke collectors who turn up at it. One of the dudes from the Clash is quite often there, isn't he?
Oh yeah. You said that before, yeah.
Yeah, he was there. I think he was there when we were there, V. Do you remember? Didn't Sarah come out and say she'd seen him in there? Do you remember?
I think so, yeah.
That time she handed the award over to us. Do you remember?
Yeah.
It was that time.
Those heady days.
Oh, years ago. Yeah. But it was fun. I bought as many as I could fit into my rucksack. And then me and Falpy went to the pub and had a drink and went through our comics. Obviously the fucking studs in the corner. Very attractive to all the ladies in there.
Thumbing through your comics.
Thumbing through our back issue, little stack of back issues. Yeah. But I enjoyed it still, man. It's like we always say, if you want cheap comics, go to the comic mart.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a comic shop this week that was giving away back issues?
OK Comics. The wonderful OK Comics. They were because they were getting in a new stock of back issues. Hopefully this did well. If you're in the area, then fucking hell, you'd be on the train, on the bus, driving down, fucking getting your penny farthing out and just getting down there as soon as possible. They did sort of state afterwards. They say these aren't like Marvel and DC. There's a lot of other type of stuff.
Yeah,
I wonder what it was.
Yeah, they did clarify that. But even so, just seeing the pictures of all of these boxes, it would have been like.
I thought they could give was that in conjunction with Free Comic Book Day?
I don't know.
I don't think it was.
It was Free Comic Book Day last Saturday, wasn't it? Oh no, some stores are doing it. Did it yesterday, didn't they? I think a couple of stores spread it out a bit, didn't they?
Okay.
I got mine as part of my pull list. So I got, because I buy a lot of Marvel and I buy the Valiant books. I got one for them and one for DC as well. So I got 3 with mine.
Yeah.
Oh, nice one.
But I think it was good on them for sort of offering that as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it was a good shout. I mean, the more I hear about OK Comics, the more I'm desperate.
Yeah, we like them, don't we?
Desperate.
Yeah, she was great on the show, wasn't she? What was the lady's name who come on?
Danielle.
Danielle. I liked her. She was good. Yeah. She was like a proper comics fan. Knew her stuff.
Knew her on.
Yeah, she did, didn't she?
And anyone who follows OK Comics and Danielle on Twitter will see that she's constantly recommending great books and graphic novels every week. So definitely check them out. So yeah,
I bought an issue of Gorgo as well for $9.95.
I saw that. What the hell is Gorgo, and why was it $9.95?
It's a Ditko pre-Marvel book. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I'm pulling it out. I'm pulling it out now.
Oh, Tony.
Yeah.
Oh, the comic.
But it's quite a nice grade one. So from 1960. Oh no, so yeah, he was doing Marvel as well at the same. It's from 1963.
Are you going to read that?
It's quite nice. Oh mate, yeah, I love it. It's fucking amazing. He fights a submarine.
Well, we've all done that, son.
I was just reading some of the that comic you sent through for Sybil Danning, and the bit where it's got like her as in V, and the headline to the article is V for Sybil, and it goes on V as in visitor. When Sybil Danning guest stars as in the new NBC TV science fiction series, it becomes V as in voluptuous. Fucking hell.
Battle Beyond the Stars, man. That was an early awakening for young Riptide. I can tell you that now. Yeah.
She's the tiny lady shooting around in the spaceship.
Right. No. Okay. No one wants to know about this. They want to know about comics.
Yeah. One thing I noticed, like kind of that comic Mart. I looked on the our local buying and selling group on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
Someone was selling Game of Thrones, all the series on Blu-ray for 20 quid, and I noticed they've been on there for 5 weeks. No one's interested in that shit.
That's really dropped off. He can't be doing another book, can he?
Mate, he's been doing another book for the better part of 10 years.
Yeah.
It ain't coming out.
And now he's saying it's going to be different to the way the show ended and stuff. And
of course it is.
He's never going to. Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be like the Winds of Winter and then another one after that. So if it's taking you all this time to write one book, it's just not going to happen.
What was the short story books that he did about superheroes? They were not like short stories about superheroes.
I didn't read any of them.
Aces High was one of them, and
okay,
I read the first maybe 5 or 6 books. They're pretty good. All different writers got in to do them. I think further down the line, I think Gail Simone wrote one. Paul Cornell wrote one. It was a lot of comics people, but that's becoming a series, and that was a comic as well. When it became like a prestige format, epic collection comic thing, didn't it? And they're meant to be doing that as a series, aren't they?
I don't know.
Fuck knows. Yeah. I mean, I think when it all, he's been very well versed in sort of selling the properties that he creates into lots of different media, anyway, hasn't he? So
it's got to be pretty galling. I mean, as a writer, say you had the idea for a story, and then you basically tell someone the shorthand version of it, they play it out, and no one likes it. For me, trying to carry that on and tell it, I'd be like, I'd just fucking move on to something else.
Yeah. The good thing with him is he's not spent all those millions on plastic surgery, isn't he? That's so you got to admire him.
True. I'll give him that.
Yeah. Well done, you.
George R. Martin.
Yeah, so it was all right. Comic Mart was good fun. I had a laugh there. Me and Falpy giggled at some people. It's the usual sort of thing. Yeah, but everyone was chatting. It's nice, actually. Everyone was real old school comic fans, and there's a little group, I think, is it London Loves Comics or something they're called? They're like big into the Mart, and they have almost like a swap meet outside.
Okay.
Where people turn up and you can buy. Simon Russell's part of it, I think, and you can sort of you put on the group what you've got, and people turn up and you can either sell or swap, or it's one of those sort of things, and then they all get dressed up afterwards. Keeping
it topical, what was the COVID kind of deal restrictions? You had to wear a mask inside the place.
That was it.
Have we already been over this?
Just a mask. There was no.
So anyone can handle the stuff. It didn't.
Yeah, you can look through the long boxes and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a bit of a pain for me because I obviously wear reading glasses, and I can look through a long box without glasses on. But if I want to look inside a comic and actually probably read it, and you can get away with it, but I need to put my glasses on, which is a bit of a pain when you got a mask on. But otherwise it was alright.
Do you think it's a better idea to sort of like? I mean, some people probably scoff at it, but like to have like those just surgical gloves or that kind of thing near those sort of long boxes. Is like if you're going to browse through, just put on a pair of these if you're not wearing them.
Yeah, I don't know. I told you I went to the Taschen shop, didn't I? A couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And they had a book there, and you had to put white gloves on to handle it because it was so expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I think if you got the virus on the gloves and then you move from one place to another, you're just cross-contaminating it. Isn't that the case?
Because it's not as if they're selling like we would, where we'd have like 10 books and we'd have one that would be the display book. You can't really do that at Mart, can you? Because it's just a fucking garage full of piles of
they're all
comics.
the one book, aren't they?
Yeah. Because that's currently our plan is to have sort of like a reader's copy.
Yeah.
And like just
maybe have it open on the table or something as well.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. Because I think it's just safe for everyone.
Yeah.
But we've still got to plan the amazing, world-dominating layout of our table anyway. So.
And I bought a movie. I bought a movie called Puma Man.
Excellent.
And I bought a movie called Mutant City. They look good.
Yeah. You showed the artwork for the covers. They look good.
Yeah,
they're bound to be brilliant.
It's not always indicative of the film you get inside.
It's not.
Many of us have been burnt like that.
It's actually an exercise in opposites, isn't it? If it's a good cover, it's going to be fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Trash.
Oh yeah, the amount of absolutely classic like exploitation sort of, apocalyptic sort of those apocalypse films where someone's like got like a massive machine gun that's all of these, and you watch the film and it's like someone's just sellotaped a ruler to a poor version of an M16.
And it's like the apocalypse is them driving around in a car in like the Los Angeles like dunes or desert or whatever.
With just like a shell around it.
Yeah.
I watched that Fist of the North Star, and they've got here come the motorcycles, and there's like 2 motorcycles who turn up. It's like, but they've got a shell around them almost.
Yeah. It's all done on sets as well. That is really
very weird.
Awful film. Yeah. Awful.
But enough about films. Now on to comics. Yeah, so Comic Mart is back. How often are they looking to do it, Tony?
I don't know, man. I'm guessing every other month. I think the next one may be October.
And where do people?
That much?
Yeah, where do people like find out? Like
I just see it
when
on
and
Facebook
where?
and stuff. Well, they've got their own website. Yeah, just put in London Comic Mart and you'll find it.
There you go.
Yeah, see, for those that know London, it's just south of Euston. The next stop from Euston on the tube sort of thing is Russell Square, and it's there. It's where UCAC was in the 80s, if anyone hadn't been before. So it's got a bit of a tradition about it.
There you go. There you go. So hopefully in the future we'll see you all there, all together. So we can all like fill a pub, sitting in the corner, talking about what dirty old paper we've got.
Yeah. Trying to smuggle it into the house and not get in trouble with the missus.
Yeah. You don't necessarily have to worry about that sort of thing when you're comics.
You're single.
It's true. But also, if you like digital comics or web comics, or I don't know, there's so many different ways to read comics these days. That the landscape of comics is certainly changing. So we wanted to discuss some of those things today.
Yes.
And of course, everything we're going to talk about, because we're going to be theorising, being hypothetical, just talking about our own opinions and everything. So keep the conversation going on our Twitter feed, our Facebook feed, the Slack, and everything as well. But to kick us off, I mean, Tony, do you want to kick us off with the first one?
Yeah, so we've got 2 subjects. One leads into the other. So we thought we'd start with this one. Now, this is what we are calling the diversification of crowdfunding and promotional platforms. So we have seen in the old days, like fucking when we started this, it was Twitter, Facebook, and Kickstarter kind of had started, didn't it? Now we're seeing a big move in social media. So obviously Instagram is now very popular. So is TikTok. So is Snapchat. All the things that the kids use, but also crowdfunding is kind of.
Sorry.
And Cliff loves a bit of TikTok, but the landscape's changing to the crowdfunding system of promoting and placing your book for sale. So we've got Kickstarter, obviously, which is something that we've used. We enjoy. Is something that is kind of a home for British small press in a way. We've got Indiegogo, which is, I think, mistakenly seen by some people as being a gators thing.
It's got a rep, hasn't it? A bad rep. Yeah.
I've personally funded a few things on Indiegogo, and one of them was a book about kung fu movie posters. So it's not that. There are, you can put your books. I know some people who put on Kickstarter and Indiegogo.
Where do you think
so
that rep? Sorry to just slightly detract a little bit, but speaking of rep, because every sort of platform, every sort of comic, every sort of career, whatever, everything's all about reputation now. And I know a lot of our view is, certainly in our bubble, is the UK indie scene. Although I know a lot of you worldwide creators jump in with us as well. But certainly this rep for in Indiegogo, do you think it's what's it like worldwide? What's it like in the US? I mean, like a lot of the opinions that I see for a lot of things are naturally a lot of the UK indie scene, because that's a lot of what I follow. That's a lot of the social media.
We've heard it from, who did we have on? Who was the lady creator we had on? Was she from Spain or somewhere? And she was saying they don't have Kickstarter there. Maybe not Spain. I can't remember where it was now, but it was Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and these platforms are not available everywhere.
Yeah, they just don't have it. So they have to use one or the other.
And look, let's face it, some comics make a lot of money on Indiegogo, but it puts a lot of accounts and a lot of promotional things on Kickstarter into the shade with the amount it makes. And we're always talking about reaching outside the bubble. If I can reach out to people who would normally buy books on obscure horror movies who are being funded on Indiegogo, then I want to do that. Because Atomic Hercules has got that sort of indie obscure. Yeah. I haven't done so far. We almost did when we got banned off Kickstarter, so we almost did, but we decided to go with the pre-order instead.
I find Indiegogo a little bewildering, I've got to say.
I think the lack of app, I think, is a problem.
Yeah, I don't understand the model too much of it. It's kind of like you can have something on there that is already completed, but still sell it on there, stuff like that. Which I'm like,
and they take your money anyway, even if it doesn't meet its threshold. Is that right?
Yeah. I've certainly I've heard of certain projects that don't make it on Kickstarter, and then they put it on Indiegogo, and they still get their money at the end of it.
If you sort of like, if it was like you had to make £1,000 to make your comic book, and it came in 995. That works perfectly, that model, doesn't it? But then if they only raise 200, they get to keep their money anyway. So, well, they were nowhere near the fucking total, but they've got that 200. That's where I can see that the problem with that.
Yeah,
I've asked for my money back on something that's happened like that, a movie project. Yeah.
Did you get it back?
No, I haven't had a reply for months. Yeah. Then there's a French one. I only noticed this because our old buddy Andy Barron's book his new book is on Ulule, Ulule, which I think is a French one.
I just took a look at that.
Yeah.
It seems very similar to Kickstarter in the whole layout and setup of it. I could be completely wrong there, because a 10-minute look at their website doesn't tell me everything about the service they provide.
I think off the top of my head, it took my money. I can't remember when I pledged. I'll have to check that, whether it took it straight away or it waited for it to complete. I think I got on it late, so I'm not sure. I'll have to check. And obviously now with the rise of Patreon, which has become popular, isn't it? It really has. So, and we've had a lot of, I know that when we talk about Patreon on here, we get a little spike in listens, don't we? I know we did with Lease, didn't we? We got a lot of interest around that one. And it was the impetus of why I did it, why we started it. Listening to Lease talk about it.
Yeah, she was gold. Like, absolute, just a gem. I'm going to bring this back later on in the show, because there's a comic I'm going to talk about with a creator who runs a successful Patreon. So we'll bring
you said about that. Yeah. Okay. And then add into that mix. So we've got already got those, 4 things, probably more, to promote your comic and fund it, and now we've got Substack. Now, for those who don't know, I think we've sort of labelled it a bit on the Slack, but Substack is a kind of mailer blogging service that's been used in journalism for a long time, and they've lured some comic creators over there in varying degrees of commitment. I think everyone went about Snyder going over there, but I think he's going over there to do sort of teaching classes and stuff like that. You can pay for sort of how to write the classes and stuff.
Anyone can make a Substack account, can't they?
And it doesn't have to charge.
I think it's the fact they've kicked off the fact that these people have been given money to do it by Substack.
Yeah, that's the story we're hearing, is that they've been given, some of them, substantial amounts of money to create a Substack and lure them away from Marvel, DC, Dark Horse's Image, that sort of thing.
But the plus side, sorry to keep butting in, Tony, is they keep the rights to what they're creating. They're not owned by Substack. So if they make, I don't know, Red Pants Man, they own all the rights to it.
Oh, fuck. Why didn't I copyright that name?
Yeah.
Just Green Pants Man.
Oh, yeah, right, okay. Green Pants Man. I've got to recolour the whole thing, but fucking...
Brown Pants Man, that's easier to recolour.
Absolute,
that's an auto-bio book.
That's such a great move for the creators. You're getting paid to create something you want to create, and you keep all the money from it. It's just a win-win.
Is it an advance? I don't know how it works.
I mean,
I don't know.
From what it kind of sounds, when it's said a certain way, it sounds like that to me. And at the moment, there's all that. Obviously, this is all sort of there's buzz There's buzz around it at the moment.
Completely.
It's going to be interesting to see where we are in the next year. 12 months
always
time,
compare it.
24 months
Do you remember?
time.
Sorry, mate. Do you remember when Elo started? Do you remember that? And there was a buzz around that for about fucking 2 weeks. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Where did that go?
Yeah.
I think one of the things that kills these things or keeps them going is an app. I think if there's a Substack app where you can go to your iPad, press on your subscriptions,
follow along.
Yeah, I think that's.
I think sometimes as well with these creators, they're immediately sort of like, yes, I'm on here, and here's my list of projects, and you've got like 6, 7, 8 projects, and you've got the cool logo, and you've got like, I'm working with this creator, here's a collaboration, and it all sounds amazing, but there's no product yet.
Yeah.
And that still has to happen, and we all know the how much hard work comics is and how things can break down. So if people buy into it and they're not, I think sometimes people market their pitches before there's an actual comic there.
I think there's two things. I think this also was at the same time that Snyder announced his big Comixology deal, didn't he?
Yeah.
That came out at the same time, which was seen by many as being like a brave step forward into the sort of almost Mark Miller role.
Yeah,
that Mark Miller is this sort of lead.
It was another, how can we make Amazon TV shows out of this, depending on what they do.
Yeah.
And also with the Substack, allegedly they have a lot of salespeople, and there's a networked amount of salespeople who will come to these people and say, look, this is what we can offer you.
Okay.
And if we are to believe these moaning creators on Twitter and stuff, they don't always get treated particularly well by some of the publishers they work for. But if they've got someone saying, we're going to come to us, come to our side, we will do this for you. We will pay you this. You will give you nice comfy chairs, and, we'll get someone to suck you off twice a day. Then they might go, mightn't they,
Which is great, but we can also guarantee that in 14 months' time, there's going to be a couple of creators that haven't had a good experience there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Simple as that.
But then the people that they've got over there are people that fucking shift units.
Yeah.
They're not just like...
Yeah, they've chosen wisely,
popular,
haven't they?
Yeah, they've not just like, they're the name of the moment. They're actually people that fucking sell.
They've built up and cultivated a following through their sort of professional work.
As Tony mentioned, it's a meritocracy.
Yeah.
As in, if loads of people, if you start making a comic book and everyone signs up, this is fucking great, and you do really well out of it, like the proof's in the pudding. Yeah.
I think that'll be really interesting to see who sells a comic at a big company that has a promotional machine is different from who sells a comic at a company that is basically people going, oh yeah, we've got Hickman, Snyder, Chip Zdarsky, we've got all these people. Well, let's see where the meritocracy, the natural, let's see where that they fall. Let's see where everything falls and who earns a lot of money. I mean, it'd be interesting if they got someone who was a fan favorite old school creator like Claremont or maybe Miller or someone like that over there, and it'd be interesting to see what happens then.
Yeah. Because we mentioned this briefly as well of the show is I don't care about characters anymore. I care about the creators and what content they're putting out. I mean, there's some part of my heart that's sort of like, we used to love that character, but now it's like it's not even the same fucking character anymore. It's just I don't know what's happening. Like reading that old school Wolverine, the Claremont and Frank Miller one.
Yeah.
I just fucking fell in love with it all over again.
I hadn't reread that for about 10 years for that podcast.
Yeah, same.
I was actually quite emotional reading about it.
Yeah.
That was the moment where where Wolverine became ours, didn't he? Do you know what I mean? Where you really felt for the dude. Yeah. I
got to that page where it sets up page 4 like with all these ninjas in these different locations, and then it cuts to the after where Wolverine's been through, and they're all fucked up, and there's this all empty of people. And it's like that was just had such an impact on me as a kid. I was like, wow, look, he's been through it. I didn't need to see it, but I'd known that he'd fucking been.
And there's a simple page of just him looking up at the sky, and him going, no, I'm really a man, I'm not an animal, which is what they'd been trying to say. I think it's Claremont's best writing, really do.
Yeah. But so like I want to see what these people create with these new characters. It's a fresh start.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and there's an exciting buzz around it.
Yeah, I'm going to be into it. I will want physical copies out of them as well. I will want that as well. And like you say, V, you were talking about you're only buying trades really at the moment.
Yeah.
That might be the way to go. If it's a nice hardback of something I've read on digital, I might be interested.
Yeah.
But so some of Substack you can pay, and some is free. So I've signed up to a few this week. I've signed up to, I said it last week, sign up to Mike Barron's Substack. You'll get every other day, you'll get an interesting essay on writing.
Okay.
and really good. He'll come up again in a minute, I'll show you. But and that's free. It's just a mailer, really.
Yeah.
I read it on my phone in the mornings.
I do struggle at times to consider taking on more stuff on my back. You know what I mean? Like another service I've got to read every day or stay on top. Sometimes I just feel like overwhelmed for it. I can't do another one, man.
Yeah.
Can't do another one.
This falls into what we're talking about here, V, isn't it? Is the not what you've got to read, but what you've got to create and put on. So it's diversifying so much that we're looking to get. It used to be you could get your comics out in one market to the same readers who read everything else, but it's changing, isn't it? It's heading off on different motorways in different directions. And do we try and stay on each motorway at the moment? Do we have a Patreon? So some of us have got Patrons. Do we have a Kickstarter? Some of us have got Kickstarters. Do we now add a Substack to that as well?
Yeah, I can't I've got to put it on Twitter, got to put it on Facebook, I've got to put it on Instagram, I've got to put it on my own site, I've got to put it on Patreon. It's just like, fuck me, man. I've got to create the fucking thing as well.
But the crowds are different on different sites sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I can bemoan that all I want, but if I don't do it, I won't get it in front of people. And there are people that are doing it, so you're just left behind.
I mean, I always come at every one of these topics with a very simple man's views on things. But for me, it obviously pays to have, each one of these weapons at your disposal, whether it be a Patreon. I mean, your Kickstarter is every now and then you're doing a Kickstarter. That's a product now. That's a thing,
and it's a community building thing.
Yeah,
it's a pre-sale. It's But
whether you got your Patreon or your Substack or your blog or whatever you got, I think it's a case of like, in my head, just for sanity's sake, you almost need to treat one as, this is my communication tool, and the rest, will be a lot of marketing. Because if you
one's at the center of the circle, isn't it? And the rest are just shooting off.
This is the main one. I have to make sure that I'm. If people have got a Patreon, there's Patreon content you have to deliver. Whether it's whether it's your sketches or whether you're letting people know what's going on, or your process, however you run your Patreon, you've got to deliver that. And sometimes a Patreon also comes with that's a blog in it in a sense, because you're just letting people in. If you but whereas if you've got these other ones, it's like, okay, that's like a marketing exercise. It's more about just getting the product out there. And go on.
Sorry, man. I was going to say, from what you're saying there, there's creators who are going to have to choose, because, say for example, I like Jonathan Hickman, so I pay £5 for his. Say he's got a Patreon. I pay £5 for his Patreon. I think I really love Jonathan Hickman's writing so much. I'm going to pay $5 for his Substack as well, and I get the same product. I'm going to have that. But if it's mostly the same product with the odd bit of difference, then I'm going to feel a bit cheated.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got to be careful. One. Yeah.
Yeah.
You also how many all these different services, they keep offering stuff. They've also got to put out the product that they're offering. Like you've also got to be a comic writer.
That's the bottom line, isn't it?
Yeah. You do have to. You got to be careful about what you're supplying. If you've got several different services, and you're, like you say, if you're a Hickman, if you've got this following, then you have to deliver several different flavors of Coke. Do you know what I mean? That's what it is. Because if everyone's just getting the same flavour, and like you say, Tony, you're paying £15 a month. Because we are also getting to this point, and as much as everyone will buy into it at the beginning, it goes back to the video streaming services. It's all streaming services now. But how many times have I heard the conversation or heard people sort of say, yeah, I'm cancelling this subscription because I never watch anything on it. I never do it, never do this. And then, there's the initial buzz, and then all of a sudden the culling happens.
Yeah.
And people that cull, rarely, how often do they go back?
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at the explosion that was Parler. At the end of around US 2020, Parler, in numbers, absolutely exploded because conservative people were leaving Twitter because they didn't like the sort of culture war element to it. And that irritates me, and I'm not a conservative person at all. So I can,
I can understand that.
Yeah, but and you look at the explosion of that, and then it got hacked, then it had a bad reputation, then everyone left. And I don't know if you know this, but Parler is actually still going. It's just nobody goes on there. So, and that was the hotness amongst certain circles.
Yeah, it was big
for about a year. So this is what's going to happen. This is why we have to have that steady ship. You're right, V. Maybe have a home somewhere, but we've got to keep an eye on it, because this is where we're going to sell a comics and get out of that bubble as well.
Yeah, because do you know what I mean? If you're doing gangbusters on your Patreon, and this new shiny thing comes about, is it worth you diversifying? If right now, if you're doing well, I think some people might go, "Oh, I'm going to start I'm going to start this." It's like, you don't necessarily have to do that, because you'll be watering down the thing. That is making.
I would say if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
Well, we're the prime example of that, I think. D. We could be on Patreon with this. We could be on YouTube with this, but we've just gone, no. We're just a podcast. Firstly, it's a load of fucking effort to put it on YouTube anyway. But I mean, we could have had a Patreon only episode, and there are people who would have signed up for it probably, but we just stuck with this, and that's, I think, why we have lasted so long.
I don't want. I mean, this show that we're putting out every week, I never wanted anyone to pay for any of the shit.
Kind of against the point.
This shit is worthless. No, but in all seriousness, it's like this is a bit of free entertainment, and hopefully it gets discussion going and gets you spending your money on some great books you didn't know about.
And we make £100 million of a deal.
Yeah, I mean the Nike trainers we got this week, they're fabulous, aren't they?
Nike trainers. I love that. That's the total fucking act of class. Getting a pair of Nike trainers.
I get to ask these fucking great creators like questions about their craft and how they do it.
Yeah. But also because of the learnings we've taken. I mean, the guys here have got their own Patreons. They're doing it, but it's their things. This isn't one of those. Let's put a stamp on this and let's monetize this. And I know we've made comics, and we had like an anthology and stuff. And
I actually think that, the reason we did a Patreon, me and Adam, was because of COVID. Because of lockdown, and it was a great distribution model for us. We're not making any money out of it. We're sending you a comic.
It's comics. Who makes money from comics if you're not
exactly?
Unless it's smut, then you're doing gangbusters.
So I think because of lockdown, I think a lot of things are happening where if this wasn't lockdown, I don't think Substack would have been perhaps to everyone's taste, because they would have still been going to comic shops and getting their comics and stuff. Comic conventions.
I agree.
So they have to be prepared for that changing landscape that is, hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, about to happen with everything opening up properly.
Is this this obviously talking about puddles and rivers and ponds that are outside our own, but I know obviously we hear the comics chatter of the echo chamber of Substack and stuff, but like you say, journalism had it for a while beforehand, didn't it? This sort of thing. What about like prose writers, novelists, and things like that? Because sometimes, because we love comics so much, we're not always aware of the wider world who are probably just going along at their own pace and thinking, what are those little comic people mumbling about this week?
I think journalism is it's not just newspaper journalism. Like Snowden's had a Substack for many years, for example. And he has a lot of people signed up for like $5 a time. I think you get 7 articles from Snowden a month, and there's a lot of $5 going into his account. I can imagine he does quite well of it in his little house in Russia, wherever he is. But and I think that's more long form journalism, I think, V. So I think, I don't know about novels like fiction, certainly non-fiction.
I always presumed that Patreon was more the one that sort of the art crowd went to, like the filmographers and photographers and
musicians
artists generally went to Patreon, and that's how the whole thing of the patron of the arts of someone backing what you're creating. To be honest, I really had no knowledge of Substack until all this recent palaver came along.
No, it
was not on my radar.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of people going to go to Substack, and there was for about 5 minutes people saying it was a bit right wing, weren't they, Substack? But everyone sort of realised that was a load of nonsense.
Is this the stock response for everything nowadays, and it's fucking boring.
But I think part of that is people being afraid of losing their footing in their current. So there's a lot of people who consider themselves the kings and queens of Twitter, and I think there's a lot of people who think that is a good avenue for them to get comics employment, and they're afraid of losing their footing there. So of course they will attack the bright shiny new thing that people are flocking to.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, they just go for it and have a pop. I mean, I'm sure a lot of that was with the parlor stuff as well. That was
I mean, Snowden's on fucking. What are you talking about? Do you know what I mean? He's on Substack. So what are you talking about? It's like, it's an interesting time. But this isn't going to be the first or the last. It's going to keep going.
Every kind of social media network's going to kind of have its day where it's like king of the hill, and then next minute it's just gone.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen it with
Facebook's
with Gab, we've seen it with Odyssey, we've seen it with there's a real change in social media going on out there that we're not used to, and we're too old to understand. The move from written stuff to videos is been substantial in the last couple of years, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's the only thing I find. One of the things frustrating about comics is the fact that comics take quite a while to put out, and a lot of the other stuff is I'll do a quick 30-second video and then that gets thousands of hits, and it's like a comic person has to fucking spend hours and hours and hours, and you might get a couple of hundred people.
Well, that was always the joke at Nobrow is you put something out that's a couple of pages from inside a book and it'll get so many hits. You put a picture out that's a picture of my dog sitting next to the book and it gets 4 times as many hits. I should hire my dog out for comic promotion.
Well, my wife has started up an account for one of our cats, and I think she's getting
which one?
Just the smallest
cat,
one,
not
Ren,
wife.
Ren, and she's got just over 1,000 followers in a week, just posting cat pictures. So, there you go.
Hold on.
About the hashtags.
Hold on, go get another follower. Hold on.
Just put on like your comic on a cat, or your cat on a comic, or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I often complain about things because obviously I follow the hashtag on Instagram, Vampirella. I recommend any warm-blooded man out there to follow that instantly. And and occasionally there'll be a picture of a fucking bicycle or something. And so I'll make a complaint. This is not a Vampirella. But they put Vampirella in as a hashtag just to get a few more likes on.
Yeah. Fucking people.
Yeah.
But talking about creators and creators that are kind of left out in the cold, so to speak, the second topic is that, isn't it? Like,
it is.
We've got all these creators that are kind of like giants of the industry, that the titles we kind of cherish and relish today. These creators built these characters and these legacies. I mean, all the films, the Marvel films, are all from the storylines of yesteryear.
Easy. If you want to get a creator, go and look at the thank you bit on the
in any
Marvel movie.
Kind of,
just hire anyone named there. Yeah.
Like,
but so this,
everything.
Yeah. Shall I tee this one up?
Go for it.
Yes, go for it.
So, Mark Miller, just this morning or lunchtime today, put out tweets commenting on a video from our old buddy Perch. We're still on Mark Miller watch, incidentally. Anyone who's listening. So you're welcome anytime, Mark. But it was suggested that with everyone, with the young talent or the newer talent or the fresher talent, moving to Substack, rather than this desperate race to say, who can we find, who can do a comic? Why don't they go back to the veterans, the people who knew what they were doing? And it's a good video, so have a look at that from Perch. He has a chat with that buddy of his. Always makes me laugh. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but so he has a chat with him about it. Now, so it got me thinking about creators who are out there who are still creating competent and often amazing creators, and why they aren't being hired by the big two, I suppose. I'm going to start it off with the two Mikes. So I'm going to say Mike Grell and Mike Barron.
Yeah.
I think both putting out Kickstarters, still creating stuff, Another couple that sprang to mind, Pat Broderick. Why is Pat Broderick not doing comics? He's still putting comics out. He's self-publishing stuff. I love Pat Broderick's work.
I know Jim Lee's working for DC and he's a big word DC, but if you had Chris Claremont writing an X-Men title with Jim Lee writing it, I know Cliff Cumber would hate this, but that fucking comic would just be fucking mental. Everyone would be all over that.
Do you think it's easier to name a writer than it is an artist, though? Because one of the things, we love these classic artists. I mean, if you ask me, put Arthur Adams on anything.
Byrne's still kicking, man. What's wrong with using John Byrne? I know he has a reputation of being difficult, but don't everyone of that age? Do you know what I mean? I concentrated on this feat. It's funny you should mention that, because the first ones that came to my mind were writers. So a couple of other ones were Jamie Delano and Pete Milligan. I thought, why aren't they doing X-Men books or something? But then I thought, no. So then I went to Bob McLeod, Klaus Janson, Eddie Campbell, Wendy Peeney, Bob Layton,
Yeah.
There are Silvestri. Why is Silvestri not doing an Iron Man book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Paul Smith's amazing.
It's beyond me, man.
Yeah.
I don't know why you wouldn't get these people in, but as we mentioned, if you got them in and like you had some young spunker who's like in their early 20s trying to tell
a young what, Dan?
A young spunker.
Young spunker. Yeah. Like telling some 40-50-year-old veteran like what to do and not.
Yeah,
that'd be a tough gig, surely.
Yeah, I think it's definitely it has to be a learning curve for both, because obviously, you know, if you're a big veteran, hopefully you would hope that they're not going to be like, you can't fucking tell me what to do, because they've had the experience of working with editors anyway. But also, and we talked a little bit about this before the show, but like, if you're just imagine if you're a young editor and you've been given like one of the legends. But there's something that they need to change. You've got to step up and tell them.
The relationship between a editor and a comic creator is not always smooth sailing. In fact, it shouldn't be, because the editor should be saying, this doesn't make sense. That image doesn't work. Why are we doing this? You know, and they look at the fucking historical rows we've heard of at Marvel and DC between editors and creators, but they were still pumping out, you know. Yeah. Say what you like about Shooter, there was some cracking books came out under him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wonder if they know who these people are. I don't think there's a lot of creators there, a lot of editors there, because they're very young. Might not know who they are.
You've told stories that we've known when kind of comic professionals, you sort of say, what about so and so, and they're like, who's that?
I spoke to a designer who was designing a science fiction book once for a major UK publisher comic, and they'd never heard of 2000 AD. And look, okay,
that's just beyond bizarre.
Yeah. What do you do in your spare time? Yeah.
I mean, I'd imagine that like the average Joe on the street might be able to tell you that. Like, just not someone in the know who's supposed to be in the know.
Yeah. Why don't we have this policeman who's a bit of a Nazi and he wears a helmet all the time? Yeah, that's been done before. Oh, okay, thanks. You've got to know a little bit about you know, like you've said it before, D. Comics is the only job that you can get into where you seemingly don't have to have any knowledge about it at all.
Yeah. Just walk in. So I want to write this character.
Yeah.
All right. What about this 40 years of backstory? I had to start like they've lost their memory. Start from scratch.
Yeah. I also think one of the big things with me, and this is almost going to sound like sacrilege when I say it, especially when it comes to the bigger publishers, we don't need as many comics.
No, we don't.
We don't. Yeah. We don't. There's no need for. And I know this is brilliant because all these people are getting jobs and stuff, but also all these people are complaining about lots of things. So just ignore that. You know. But less is more. Let's have less of more quality content that's going to stick with people.
We don't need 10 Batman books a month.
Oh, dear God, no.
It stops you being a Batman fan because you don't feel like you're buying and reading and keeping up with it all.
Yeah.
So the thing is with me is if I'm reading like the X-Men and I'm not keeping up with it all, and then something happens, I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Oh, I'm really lost by this. That's a real shame. I've invested fucking 40 years of my life into the X-Men. I'll just go back and read some old issues. I won't buy any new ones.
This is one
like
month.
That.
Yeah, you can keep on top of it, and it's supposed to be a serial like that, isn't it? Like a kind of you keep coming back to the title, but when it becomes a bit of a mess, you're like, I think that's why like the summer events always used to just fuck everything up, because like you're ticking along, and then suddenly I've got to buy this issue or that and that issue, and like your buy list for that month or whatever the thing goes over, like it triples at least.
Yeah.
Oh, way more than triples. I mean, you've got to buy like a dozen titles.
We've said it like many times when we've done our backs. You know, everyone's done the backseat driving, haven't they? Do you know what I mean? If I was steering the ship, how I'd do it. But you know, I've always stuck to the sort of like a couple of core titles that are just ongoing, and you can do all these other stories, but you say from the beginning, this is a 4-issue miniseries. This is a 6-issue miniseries.
Yeah, miniseries.
Rather than this is issue 1, and everyone's like, well, how many issues is this going to be? If you say from the outset, this is a 6-issue miniseries, people could be like, brilliant. Okay, I'm in for 6 issues.
I think like someone comes up and says, I've got a fucking great idea for a Moon Knight miniseries, 4 issues. And they go, yeah, that's fucking dynamite.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to do a Moon Knight miniseries. And then that's the one and done. Yeah. And then you only take pictures based on how good the idea is. Instead of like...
it's the old Frank Miller story about Elektra. Yeah. He wanted to kill Elektra. Yeah. The editor says, I don't know about this, Frank. So he had a coffee with Jim Shooter and said, oh, by the way, we're talking about I want to kill Elektra, but I'm not sure the editor wants to go for it. And Jim Shooter has said, what's the story, Frank? And he's told him it, and he's gone, yeah, do it. And that's fucking how it should work, you know.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, at the same time, it's easy enough for us to say this, but then when you have these publishers that have the suits and tables above them, sort of saying, "No, we can't. Spider-Man can't do this." The people that really, let's face it, they're not invested like the rest of us, are they? They don't care. It's just IP, and that's the shame of it all, really, isn't it? And the reason why I'm all about fresh stories and independent stories.
I wouldn't know which but when we've had the recent controversy with it. I think it's not even a controversy, that Tim Drake. No one really gives a shit about it. It's just
nobody cares anymore.
Massive indifference. There's someone they come out with this. Oh, look at this! It's great, and it's okay.
Well, who was saying it? We were talking about it earlier. Who was saying it? The outing. You know, there's someone coming out and saying, oh, I'm bisexual or I'm gay is the new equivalent of the. This is me being cynical, by the way. The new equivalent of killing a character.
Yeah,
I hear about it and I think, oh, that'll get a few sales, and then I think, will that stick? And then I think,
for me, it's like an absolute flatline, and then a bip, and then just back to flatline.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, I haven't read. You know, if you're a character, you know, if you're a creator who's done this, it's a shame because you're not going to be given the rope or time to invest to let people to explore that choice you've just made. You're going to make that decision, and then in 4 issues' time, probably someone else is going to take it over and not do it so well. You know, not do it the way you wanted to do it. It's I don't know. I like to. Oh, that's the reason we enjoy books like the X-Men and stuff like that. Is we like to know these people. Yeah.
We do like to be, because that's the theory, isn't it? With a lot of American fiction, is they create a family environment. So you got it in Star Trek, you get it in sitcoms, you get it in comic books. They create this group of like a father figure, a brother sister figure. And you feel at home in that group, and you get to know these people. But like you say, Vince, they're given 10 issues to do it, and then I'll reboot or cancel.
And we're talking about something else now. What?
Yeah.
This is
this event. Yeah.
I just introduced a very important topic to a lot of people.
I want to hear about that, dude. Yeah. Why did it happen? Who's his new partner? What's made him talk about it now? I want to hear about it, but it's not. It's just a fucking page on Bleeding Cool or something.
Or it's just going to be a very sort of. I say this having read none of these comics. It's just going to be a very diet romantic angle. And but that doesn't explore the things that it should explore.
They get cancelled a couple of issues down the line.
Yeah.
So I don't see they sort of just use it to kind of drum up sales a bit, and then when they just dips again, now it's cancelled now.
Yeah.
It's back to that book that's been written by the lady who was in Game of Thrones, or whatever it was, or co-written by her. This one that's come out.
Emily Clark. Yeah,
Emilia Clark is it? Yeah.
Emilia Clark.
And it's all like, oh yeah, and the advertising of that, she was saying, oh, I really felt there was a need for female creators in comics. Well, you ain't fucking reading them, and are you?
Yeah.
There's loads. We're doing all right, man. Keep away. Go away.
Doing all right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's always been that way with comics, though. It's like we've been relatively progressive.
Yeah,
compared
exactly.
to a lot of industries.
Yeah, look at what's going on in the '60s, and look at the X-Men. Look what's going. The Incredible Hulk, Spider-Man. We were addressing these issues. I think if you're like, there's a lot going on in this world, and if you're attacking comics for things, you need to go out of that bubble and actually see what's really going on in the real world. Sometimes I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the question.
I'm just a massive cynic when it comes to some of that stuff. I really am.
Me too. I just see it.
Yeah.
I mean, the Guardian and a few sales.
Yeah. I mean, certainly though, if any of you out there have seen a really good exploration or a choice like this that has really explored it well, that you think hasn't just been for numbers and stuff, give us a link. Let more people know about it, because that's the reason that these creators hopefully want to do these storylines is because they want to get a story out there that's quite important. So if you
about that character,
yeah.
Anyway, back to this question at hand. I agree, V. But let's go back to this was like a little thing we thought we could play about. How is there anyone out there who's a bit of a veteran comic creator who we're not seeing in comics at the moment? Is there anyone out there that you guys know they're still live and kicking, they're still doing conventions, they're still doing their own comics, or surviving on commissions, who we could get back into the game? Now
you're talking about like the sort of bigger ones.
Yeah, I think so. Who'd been previously on a big 2 book, I suppose.
Yeah. Rather than the straight up sort of indie creators that have just still been plugging away. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you could say, for example, I'd love to get Dave Sim on Doctor Strange, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. To be fair, I would read that because he is crazy, and Doctor Strange deserves a bit of crazy in its life. But
here's a very interesting one for you, just because I just like the weirdness of this idea.
Yeah.
Terry Moore doing the Fantastic Four. What would that be like?
Yeah, that'd
That'd
good.
be interesting.
But he's still busy, isn't he?
Yeah. That was just. I just suddenly thought Terry Moore.
Yeah. Unless he drew a great Sue Storm, I'd bone his Sue Storm.
Get Larry Hama doing anything.
Oh,
well, Larry Hammer's back on. What's he doing now? He's back. No, it's not a big two. He's doing an IDW book, isn't he?
He's not doing the GI. He's not doing GI Joe.
I think he's doing GI Joe now, isn't he? Isn't he doing some of it?
Yeah, I think he's back on it. Yeah. Let's have a look. In terms of
one of my favourites is Anne Nocenti. Her Daredevil run was brilliant.
Okay.
And she's still writing, and
she's still writing, still creating.
Yeah. And Jo Duffy as well. She did that. Well, she did some. She's very well respected for her Star Wars stuff, but I personally really liked her Power Man Iron Fist stuff. And I saw an interview with her recently where she was saying she was working on getting a few pitches out there, and we're talking about a brilliant female creator, from the 80s. Yeah. Get her back.
They just don't seem to be interested in that. Those, I don't know.
Last I heard, Jo was working in like a correctional facility or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Bloody hell. That's a strange career progression.
Well, I think just office job or something. I don't know if she was a guard or anything.
It wasn't a screw.
Yeah, exactly.
Slopping out time.
What is I'm gonna murder the name. Fabian Nicieza doing these days?
I don't know, to be fair.
Because he was responsible for a lot of stuff that I remember reading, but in the 90s. I mean, lots of people talk about Liefeld, but I would say that Nicieza did a lot of the legwork.
Yeah.
When I say legwork, I don't mean drawing feet.
Yeah, feet work.
What's he up to, T?
He's had some trouble, I think. I'm not sure his drawing's quite. He's actually retired. Because do you remember I sort of yearly ask him for a commission because I have this sort of weird email relationship with him. And he did. Last time I asked him, he said, "I'm sorry to tell you, Tony, but I've retired, mate."
Jacked in.
Okay, it's just a shame.
One more time. Come on.
Yeah, I know.
I tell you, Ron Lim.
Yeah,
needs a comeback, man.
He's done the odd variant recently, isn't he?
Yeah.
But get him on a Silver Surfer, man. I'd read the fuck out of that.
Yeah. Well, he was my Silver Surfer artist.
Yeah. X-Men 2099. Even that was good.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. Larry Hama writing a G.I. Joe title drawn by Mike Zeck.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I can't remember what Mike said he was doing back when we spoke to him. Do you remember?
I don't know.
He was still drawing, wasn't he?
His agent was talking the talk.
Yeah.
Right.
Thing is, a lot of the time, obviously, with sort of modern comics, it's obviously a lot quicker paced, and these artists obviously sometimes just want to go more detailed, don't they? So that slows down their process a lot.
Yeah, and I know you when you're older, you get the maybe harder you find it to sit at a table for 12 hours a day and draw.
And we also get those. Oh, I prefer their art style 5 years ago, even though naturally the artist evolves and looks at their
changes.
Yeah. But if we just
some people would do, they have that young man energy.
Yeah.
Dissipates. Sadly.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's rates as well, because we hear that rates haven't really changed a huge amount for some companies, do we? Yeah.
Well, literally, I think they've stayed the same.
That's what we hear, isn't it? Yeah.
And when you think, oh, fuck me, I'm busting my ass off doing this, why don't I just do concept design for a game or a film and earn 3 times as much?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I do love those guys who go and do some film work. Like Adrian Ashimi, our buddy, he does that, doesn't he? But he still loves comics and wants to make comics. And I think Wild Goose is like that, isn't he? He's done quite a lot of
but I think that
TV
the thing
work.
is, now they can move, step away as a creator on their own and say, well, I don't have to be defined by the company I'm working for and what they're going to pay me. Yeah. I'll self-print. I'll do my own stuff.
Well, maybe you do a Substack or you do a Patreon at a certain amount. And if you get some, if you're busy for 3 months on a movie, you just pause the payments. So that's something I reached out to you, V, didn't I? Just see if Lise was all right. And Lise had paused payments on her Patreon, which we were all signed up to. But it was just because she hadn't put anything out for a while and she didn't think it was fair, while she gets the book ready. And I think that's a good way of doing it. Yeah. And it does allow you to do that on Patreon,
That's fair.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
It's something we would probably consider if, say, for example, we were a bit behind on our books for tribute, we might put a pause in it. Yeah.
I'm definitely on the next when Vanguard's done in years and years time. I'm going to do the kind of like paper thing, like you pay £1 a month to read the comic, or like 50p a month, just to kind of get something going, so it like pays for some of the fees you got to pay out to make the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if it just covered costs, I'd be more than happy. Because I'd make the fucking comic even if no one was really reading it. I'd make it for myself.
Yeah.
So. But.
I worry that we've lost that corporate memory of, having spoken to a lot of editors at comic companies in the last couple of years, and that just a blank look on their face when I mention some big comics names and books they've done in the past. And I just wonder whether we're losing, the corporate memory of it. And a lot of people are, the only memory of it is a few people left at Marvel. And, when someone says, oh, who would be good for this book? The first voice seems to be Mags Visaggio rather than it should be Mike Grell or Mike Barron,
Yeah.
Nobody knows them.
I feel like they're fucking... I don't know, I'm so ignorant on the subject, but I really feel like they're kind of like on their last legs, that lot. It just seems to be like... They seem to... like they're presented with this is how it's going, and rather than sort of say change and adapt, we'll just keep doing the same thing. And it's like, that's fucking madness, man.
Yeah,
the same thing.
The brilliant idea of DC, to put more pages in there of story you're not interested in and charge you a lot more per issue.
Yeah. Like, but they said they're going to try webcomics, aren't they? They said about doing...
That's the webtoons, aren't they? Yeah.
Webtoons, yeah.
I feel like we're an open wallet sometimes for companies. I feel like they're raiding our childhood nostalgia by putting out these omnibuses and stuff,
There's only so much they can fucking do it, though.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
There's only so much you can do it, and I feel that for me, like that goodwill's all but gone. Like
the 8 versions I've got of the Dark Phoenix saga. I don't think I need another one. Yeah, I'll probably buy it behind you.
But so we are buying that fucking Captain America Essential, the captain.
Are you going to get that, V? Because we could do a little read on that, can't we?
So what is this for people that?
Oh, it's a fucking great moment in Cap history.
Yeah.
Essentially, well, Cap says like, I'm fucked off with doing all this stuff for the government. I'm no longer going to be working for the government. I'm no longer Captain America. I'm jacking it in. It's my retelling of it. And then they, we're going to have to replace Captain America. And they audition guys, and they get in that John Walker, who's like the unlimited class wrestler. And he takes over as Cap, and he has to learn from the get-go how to be Cap. And he gets trained by Taskmaster. And the Captain America we know, Steve Rogers, becomes the captain. And he's the one running around in the black suit that's like the US agent style.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spoil it too much, but
it's great. There's a lot of tension between that fight's going to happen, don't you, and all this sort of thing. Yeah.
Essentially, he's the bigger, stronger, more violent, hardcore version of Cap that readers thought that they wanted. And when you get presented with it, you're like, actually, he's pretty fucking horrible.
I mean, and that was political, wasn't it? That was reflective of the time and, who the politicians in America were and what they were doing war-wise and stuff. It really was. But it was told so well.
I see they've timed the release of it to really sort of, make the most of one of their Marvel TV series.
This will take crackerjack timing, someone said in the release schedule meeting at Marvel. Yeah.
It's frustrating because in the TV series, they handled that moment so badly. Then in the book, it's handled really well. It's just done really well. Like the reason he fucking snaps is like, he would fucking snap, and he just fucking goes off on one. And it's great stuff.
And that is available now as we speak.
As of today, it comes out.
As of today,
yeah.
It's an epic collection, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. How many pages is that?
I don't know actually.
I have to Amazon it.
Yeah, have a look on Amazon because it'll also tell you, they can let people know what the price is as well. D, so they might want to, because it'd be a good one for us all to, do like a read along one, wouldn't it? It'd be quite a good one.
Okay, if you just filibuster.
I'm trying to look it up myself, and I just looked at my search history on my phone, and it's fucking awful.
Oh God!
Like Urban Dictionary. Why am I looking at that every day?
Every day.
Yeah, I try and find new things that I talk about on the show.
Knowledge is power, isn't it? Really?
Mine says order received, but it's delivery pending. Oh, that's no good.
That's no good.
It's £28.12. It's reduced on Amazon from £37.50. Well, that's good. I don't know how many pages is it.
And what is the name of the?
It's called
The
Captain America Epic Collection: The Captain.
There you go.
With a weird title, that you would have thought they would have kind of made a bit of a better title because you're searching for the same thing several times.
Oh, yeah. on here it says it's released 31st of August, 2021.
Oh, it is. There you go. I thought it was tomorrow. Oh yeah, it's 31st, so end of the month. Yeah. Oh, that's all right then.
Yeah. So you got time
who's
to.
the artist on that? John Byrne. No, he's your.
Yeah, he does a couple of things, isn't it? Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, and doesn't Paul Neary do some stuff on it?
He's a fucking. I can remember the art in that is really. That's one of the titles that the big chunky dudes slapping shit out of him. That was like. That was one.
That's in my search history too.
Yeah.
Big chunky dudes slapping shit out of each other. I've really jacked up the beef in.
Jacked up the beef.
Yeah.
There is the fucking t-shirt.
They're some of the arms like bigger than their legs.
Fucking brilliant. So you're saying it's like a video game sort of like cover from like the late 80s, is it? Fucking Two Crude Dudes or some shit like that.
I just kept thinking of you during that Fist of the North Star movie, Dan. I just got to think, yeah, Dan definitely was into this. Yeah.
Dudes fucking whack the fuck out of each other. I used to watch. There was a mag in the 90s called Impact magazine.
I remember
used to read that?
Yeah.
Used to do like kind of like Eastern martial art films, and they did like Western stuff. And when they kept on showing bits of Fist of the North Star film, I was like, oh, this is going to be fucking brilliant. It's going to be brilliant. And then it came out, and I was like, oh my god, the travesty.
It's like the dude can't act in it, right? It's not like he can't act. He can. His acting is actually on the minus scale.
Yeah, it's
not
really
0. It's like he actually makes it worse.
Yeah,
you know, with every line he says.
His finest hour. He's in a film with Jackie Chan, City Hunter, and he doesn't speak, and he's really good. Quite menacing. I didn't even realise. I found out after the fact he's in the first Expendables film. Gary Daniels.
Oh, right. He's an accident man as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Bloody hell.
Yeah.
He's in Expendables. He's one of the bad guys. He's got like a goatee and short hair, and you're used to seeing him with the long blonde hair, like tied back. That's why I didn't recognise him at first. But
okay, there you go.
Yeah,
he's a good fighter.
There you go.
Yeah,
fat fans.
There you go.
Fat fans.
Fact.
Hashtag facts.
Yeah, we're all about facts on this show. No, I'm not going to make that statement because half the time it's just fucking
everything you say is pure factual.
Yeah.
Factually wrong.
Factually inaccurate. Yep. But like I say, it's all our opinions and we want yours, so keep the conversation going.
Who would you like to see back? What old creator who's out there putting his own stuff out, or being a bit ignored by the big two? Who would you like to see come back?
Because these sort of questions are always the same as like if someone just asks you out of the blue, what's your favourite film? What's your top 5 favourite films? And your mind just goes fucking blank. So have a think about it and like just show some love for those classic creators, whoever they were, that you'd like to see come back to some of these bigger titles.
Yeah, or more make their own Substack and make a few quid for themselves. Which
on that Perch fucking video, they say McFarlane. So they said, "Oh, Todd, you can do a one-off Spider-Man comic." It was like just that would go fucking mental. Everyone would get that.
Wouldn't it? Yeah. I watched his Instagram today, and he's showing a load of comics in a dustbin. What's that all about? I didn't know what that was.
I don't know. Fuck knows. I always remember him from the beginning of those Spawn animated episodes. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I've got them on VHS.
Yeah.
Wow. That was a good
Might see if they're on Blu-ray. I wonder if they're on Blu-ray.
Yeah, they must.
That'd be good to get.
Yeah. That was a good animated series, I remember.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it really was. Yeah.
His voice was absolutely spot on, done by Keith
David.
Keith
I like
David.
him. Yeah, he's good, isn't he?
From John Carpenter.
They Live.
Yeah. And The Thing.
Yeah.
Of course, he's Charles, isn't he? Yeah.
There you go. See?
Good stuff.
So much you learn. I mean, you already knew.
And find us on our subscription-only Substack.
Yeah. You want to hear more about that?
I mean, for me, the only Substack...
Fucking only... Gone.
The only Substack...
Pancakes. You're going to say pancakes, aren't you?
No, I was going to say, well, like Subway actually do a Substack.
Oh, right, what's that?
I don't know, some fucking sandwich thing. I don't know.
I don't like Subway. It
Hammer
smells
home the
mingy.
point about the social media networks. OnlyFans. That's
Oh
pretty much
yeah,
pretty much going. So
big moment for you this week, wasn't it, Dan?
Yeah.
well, you think like say we was on Patreon, you're doing all right on Patreon, and then suddenly Patreon said, "Look, we're not going to host this content anymore. See you later. End of the
Yeah.
month, we're not doing it anymore."
Yeah.
You're like, "Oh well,
Yeah.
I get all my living from there. That's pretty fucking bad."
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
tax free.
I mean, from the sounds of it, this is one of those the people above have told them, no, we can't have this anymore.
well,
Oh, no.
Yeah. They're about to be bought out by Disney or something, aren't they?
Yeah.
Or something like that. And they've gone.
Yeah.
It happened to Tumblr, didn't it? They went to shit, didn't they? After they took all the erotic content off. But I said that to my. I think I read your text out, Dan, to my son, and he went, "Oh, that's them over then." I'm like that.
Yeah,
how many
they're done.
how many subscriptions have you got, you little fucker? He doesn't have
But
any.
I think there's like there's allegations and stuff that there was dodgy material being put on their platform, and if they can't regulate it, they got to shut it down, and they can't regulate it, so that's what they got to do.
Good news. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's for the best then. Good.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
That's the trouble as well, isn't it? You're publishing that stuff. You're
Yeah.
the publisher, and you kind of need to have oversight.
So if you want some decent filth, then either come to this show or just, I don't know, create a webcomic, because those ones are fucking popular.
Yeah.
How else do you find filth on the net apart from going to OnlyFans?
Hold on, are you telling me you
writing-
can find naughty images on the internet? Is that what you're saying, Dan?
Someone said
What?
Yeah.
This is news
What?
to me.
Wow, really?
I've still got my Razzle Reader's Wife copy from 1992.
Not the same copy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's a bit dog-eared
Jesus.
and laminated.
I quickly download all the pornography off the internet. It's like 500 tetrabytes.
A friend of mine is
Alexa, download all porn.
All porn. Yeah. A friend of mine is a bit addicted to porn, and he said to me, I can't find any new films. How many have you fucking watched?
Yeah. They're putting out like fucking 500 new ones a day. What are you doing with your time?
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Anyway, do we have any shout outs this week, gents?
Yes.
Man, we've got a load.
Oh,
When you go down.
I'm going to start eating digestive biscuits while you go through this list.
I'm going to go from the bottom of the list up.
Oh.
And in no order.
Don't make it
favouritism.
difficult for yourself, Dan. I can already see
So your favourite first, and then your least favourite last, yeah?
Camp VA.
Oh,
Issue 2. In the future, mankind lives at the mercy of the Kurek, being farmed for blood in return for food. But one family has had enough. From our friend James McCulloch. That is going very well. Could do with a little push just to get it over the line. Go check that one out. We'll put the link in the show notes. We've got... come on, you bastard. Right. Killtopia 4. Dave Cook. That's smashed its goal. It's Killtopia 4. Cyberpunk Tokyo becomes the high-tech battleground of Japan's deadliest bounty hunters fight to claim the world's first sentient mecha. And the cover for issue 4 by Clark Bint and colours by Lou Ashworth. Oh, it's fucking lovely. Really nice cover.
Cool.
And we've got a hearty congratulations to G-Man on comics.
Yeah, good old Gary. Hey.
Well done, Gaz.
10 years. He's been going for 2011, fighting the good fight. I've had several reviews off Gary, and they've all been on point, and he's one of the voices I can go to and say, if he says a comic's good or a comic's bad, that's usually what it's going to be. And I've kind of...
He's one of the few reviewers I actually trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who don't... If something's good, something's got to be bad. It can't all be good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he'll call it the right way.
So he's put 10 titles that have received a 10 out of 10 review on his site. He's putting up, I think if you go to his pinned tweet at Comics Anon blog, I think it's something like if you retweet one, you go into the mix to possibly win a copy of that comic. Yeah. That's the idea.
His site is comicanonymous2015.wordpress.com.
Cool.
We can read all these interviews and reviews of various titles. So go check out G-Man. And we've got, I'm sure most of the listeners would have backed this already, which is John Tucker's Murder, Volume 2.
Yeah, I was on that.
Short scale, limited edition comic collection, now in its second volume.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's brilliant. It's really good. It's usually John.
Fantastic.
Yeah, really good stuff. You go to neverrunanything.com. There's a little preview which doesn't give anything away. But yeah, I've read it and it's good fun. Again, it's the two stories.
Meeting in the middle.
Yeah, it's what you want. It's good. Yep.
We have to do what order we're going to read it in.
Yes. Yeah.
It's frustrating because you can only experience that once unless you have like a sharp blow to the head and forget you read. It's an interesting kind of like artistic kind of thing because it'll forever colour your experience of it. Yeah. Which way you read it.
So, I like the way in the Kickstarter it says, "Will I be doing issue 3? I don't know. Might do." It's a bit like that sort of thing. Made me laugh. Yeah.
See how it goes. And that rounds up my shout-outs.
Well done. I've got a couple. So happy birthday to Stuart Mulrain and Al Henderson today. Yes. They share a birthday and they did a crossover strip, Penguin Nerds Who Haunted Themselves crossover strip, which made me laugh. I think that's it.
Stuart was going to eat a large amount of donuts.
Oh, he was, wasn't he? Yeah. And
not a euphemism.
Go to Tribute Press on Twitter and we've got some hoodies for sale. If you're on the Patreon, pay attention to the posts. On Friday night, I posted the discount code. If you're a Patreon, you get a discount on your hoodie. So have a look at that.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
Fantastic.
Nice. And I just got one final one, another Kickstarter. Gateway City Volume 2.
Oh, yes.
Has got, by Russell Mark Olsen, has got 8, as we speak, 7 days left on it. Absolutely smashed its goal. But a fantastic series.
Yeah, it wasn't a short run one, that one, is it? Not like John's, because John was just a week, wasn't it, on his?
Yeah. No, I think this one was I think he did a month, but yeah, this is well worth checking out. I mean, Gateway Cities and Russell's work is just amazing anyway. So go
I've got one I forgot.
I've got one shout out as well. I'll go after you, T.
This Land, issues 1, 2, and 3, Gods and Monsters by Mark Abnett, a buddy of ours from the community, also on the Slack. Get on the Slack, contact us. It's been a good week on the Slack actually this week. A lot of great conversations, a lot of artistic discussions and stuff like that. Always sensible, always friendly. He's got on Kickstarter. It's smashed its goal again, but it's always worth going on and getting involved. A woman's mysterious past catches up with her, and a battle of ancient kaiju threatens to destroy a world with the powers of gods. So it's quite interesting and it looks great as well. So go on that one.
That sounds good. I asked a question on the Slack today. I can put it to you guys now, actually.
Oh, okay.
I commissioned an artist to do a pin-up for me, and she did the pencil version. She sent me high-res of the pencil version, the inked version, and kind of like the shaded and highlight one. I wasn't too mad on the shaded and highlight one, so I've started colouring her inked drawing.
Yeah.
Is that a faux pas? Do you think I'm thinking I should reach out to her and say, look, this is what I'm going to do?
I think you should tell her, but even if she said no, you've paid for it, my friend.
Yeah, I paid for it.
Yeah.
So
they don't reach out to all these artists when they recolor stuff that we heard about last week, did they? Do you know what I mean? So I think it's the gentlemanly thing to do would be to tell her.
So I'm going to do this, but I've
just to let you know, I'm going to give it. I'm going to color it. I really like the inks you did. So I'm going to colour the inks. It's almost like that, I think. Yeah. What do you think, V?
Yeah, totally. Hard agree.
Right, good.
Yeah.
That was a weird way to put it.
No hard in being courteous, is there?
Yeah. Nah. Yeah.
And we did have the drink and draw on Friday. They went down an absolute storm. Thanks for Tom Curry for hosting that and everyone that came along. We ended up discussing, Kev Cooling was on there, and we talked about Sugarcane Cyberpunk. Is that the title?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And the trials and tribulations of running a Kickstarter, and there's a lot of back and forth. And if you're a creator kind of interested in the art of putting out comics, you want to do a comic yourself, the Drink and Draw is an ideal place to come along to a forum where there's going to be multiple people that have done that, and you can ask questions there and then and get answers.
Yeah, that's good.
As well as talk about Star Wars and drawing and comics.
I'd like to apologise. I only appeared for 20 minutes and I told a very off-colour joke and then left.
It was a brutal joke. Brutal.
Brutal.
Yeah. No fat on that joke. It's all brutality.
Oh my god.
Seems that they go down okay. Everyone laughed.
Yeah, God, yeah. That was the right crowd.
Yeah.
I think Drew said, Tony appeared for 20 minutes, left his seed and left. And then someone put in the Slack, what do you mean seed?
Obviously, Tony's an
There's lots
avid gardener.
Exactly. Thank you.
There's lots of innuendo. The trouble is, you do the make innuendo joke, and then everything everyone says afterwards is like,
Yeah.
You pick
Sarah
it
knows from her sex wellies.
up.
That was wellies, wasn't it?
Yeah, wellies. Yeah.
Okay, right.
But that kind of brings me on to the book I'm going to talk about.
Oh,
look at you,
yes,
Dan.
because
Move on to our recommend.
because it is our time of the show where we're going to tell you lovely people about some stuff that you should check out. Dan, you're on your way, so carry on.
Yeah. So I come across this comic. I can't remember how. I think I was on a forum. Someone posted up a page for it. I was like, oh, this is fucking lovely, like a painted comic. And I didn't read the title of the comic too much. I just kind of got stuck in. And it's called I Roved Out in Search of Truth and Love. It's irovedout.com.
Roved.
Roved, as in like you rove the plains. So it's got under there.
You've completely confused Tony. Then I could hear the confusion.
So the title is called I Roved Out in Search of Truth and Love. And as a subheading, it's got a warmly pornographic fantasy saga. I didn't read that. And I just started reading the book.
Yeah.
And it starts off quite kind of mysterious. There's like a kind of a prologue of like, it seems to be like some fantastical battle between kind of gods taking place. I was like, oh, this is all interesting. And then it kind of just casually drops into just absolutely filthy, fluid, hardcore sex between multiple people. And so okay, there we go. This is what it's about. So it's kind of it's kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons story with it follows the main character Soap, who's an elf, and she works as a ranger for a guild, and just ends up sleeping with loads of people, sleeping with monsters, sleeps with her boss, so she doesn't have to go out and do a patrol that's particularly tiresome. To be fair, it's not really for me. I kind of like, okay, I'll see what this is about, and it might be your cup of tea. Yeah, give it a read, see how you think. But I thought, right, I'll check out the site and see how it's getting on. And it's a really well designed site. It's running in WordPress, and they're running a nice little theme that's really nice and clean. It's one of the things I look for in webcomics, is them to be not tons of fucking bars and adverts and shit all over it. Just like, here's the comic, you press the button, you go to the next page, and if you want to go to a certain chapter, they're on the left or whatever. And they've got a couple of links. They've got their Patreon, the Gumroad, and a tip jar, and a few, like a map, which I presume tells the map of the story and about, so the artist. I'd remiss if I don't tell you the name of the artist, which I haven't mentioned, Alexis Flower. So I thought I'd check out their Patreon, see what the Patreon's like. And they do a good sum on it. Not to sound crass, they're pulling down $4,100 and something per month making this comic, which is not really to be sniffed at, is it? That's a decent sum. I mean, for that amount of money, I could easily make a fucking comic all the time, every day, like just work on comics. And I'm sure most industry professionals would love that kind of money just to make comics. So most of them were locked off because I've not joined it, so I can't see the kind of content putting up. But I presume it's of a sexual nature because a lot of the titles seem to allude to that. And it seems to shift units, putting that stuff on, they say sex sells. And we've come across it so much. These Kickstarters that go like 15 to 20K. And it just seems to be comprised of the comic and a slew of semi-naked prints of the various characters and stuff, and at moments I find it really galling. Like, it's like, fuck me, like, is it that fucking I don't know how to describe it. Is it that easy? Is it that easy to manipulate? Are people that easy to kind of like separate from their money by just here's some characters' boobs? And sadly, it is. It's just really.
I'm about to join.
Yeah. What was that someone said? One of the most inexhaustible like things in the universe is like this and men's thirst or horniness. And they're not wrong, because as long as men are around, we're going to get this kind of fucking stuff.
Yeah.
So
men are dogs, aren't they?
Yeah. So it is what it is. I'm not saying that women are beyond that, but I can only speak from a male's perspective, and it seems to be, for my fellow men, inexhaustible, that kind of. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think it's kind of like cynical to kind of cash in on that, or? I mean, I'm going to be about doing it for Viper 2. unashamedly.
Yeah, you put quite a lot on the Patreon this week, haven't you? That's a little black line over a pair of tits. Made me laugh today.
I've I've dabbled in it with the first one, but the second one is turning into it quite hard. And if it's to fund the comics, and that helps me print more copies of Vanguard to sell and to get out there, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, isn't it? Really, it's it's the product versus paycheck kind of thing, isn't it? Really, sometimes like people are creating these things because and some of this stuff, which is very pornographic sometimes. I mean, if these creators are fully into it and want to do it, that's fucking brilliant. Just create whatever comics you want. But some of these things, they definitely come across like they know the audience they're going for.
Yeah,
and I
don't think being erotic clashes against being artistic. I think no. You can do, but I think most people don't.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
Oh yeah.
I think you can do both.
Yeah.
But a lot of people just do it because they just want to see a wide opening. You know what I mean? Let's face it. But
Yeah. I'll send you a link in the WhatsApp in a moment, gents. Because
I've got to say this fucking comic that I wrote out is the art on it is fantastic, and it does good. Well because the art is great.
Yeah.
I don't think you just draw a stick figure with two fucking boobies on it and say, "Look at this."
Yeah.
Vince has sent me Smart 3 on there.
Oh yeah, I've seen this one before, Vince, and it's a bit of a kind of like bloody hell.
Yeah, and it was I just discovered that because it was one of the. If you follow a Kickstarter, like a comics Kickstarter, and they always have you like the comic, you should check out this
boobs,
and you're like, oh my god,
yeah.
Very interesting. Anyway, Tony, what would you like to recommend?
Okay, so I'm going to talk about a book called Lucky Devil, which came out this week from Dark Horse. I'm about to send you guys the cover because I think it's worth talking about in a second. So it's script by Cullen Bunn, art by Fran Gallen, letters L Torres, cover by Fran Gallen, published by Dark Horse. I really like that cover, guys. So the cover is if you saw that on the shelf, you would kind of have an impression of what the story about. It's a sort of schlubby guy in a parka, looking down at the ground, walking away. But the shadow on a white wall, which actually works well, sort of almost like an old inner city wall. With his shadow is the shadow of this sort of demonic kind of demon creature. Very simple. I think it works well. I think it's a storytelling device, and it also stood out for me when I did a surf through Comixology, which I think is a bonus these days, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I like the style. I don't know. It's not. It's there's maybe a little wisp of anime manga in there, isn't there? A little bit of
it springs to mind a little bit of God, heaven.
Who's the guy who did Chew? That.
I was thinking the artist of Black Science.
Oh yeah, no, I get you, man. Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, it's got that sort of angular face thing, isn't the sharp featured thing? Yeah, but it's very competent, the art. So the story, Stanley is at what looks like his first Alcoholic Anonymous meeting. So he looks like he's at that. It's never specified that it's alcoholics. So I think they're holding something back for issue 2 around that. And he introduces himself and tells the room that he's utterly ashamed of the many atrocities he has committed. Like, lovely little opening, to that. So always gets you interested. A woman in the group tells him that they can't be that bad and he should tell them about them, And Stanley is, he's one of the world's most uninteresting people, really. He's somebody you'd walk past in the street. His wife there's this really well-made, well-paced sequence about his missus is getting dolled up. She's putting a load of makeup on first thing in the morning, and putting some saucy underwear on. And he says, "What are you doing?" He says, "I just like to look pretty throughout the day." And he goes, "Oh, okay. Well, I think you look pretty." And he kisses her, and then he leaves for work. And as he leaves for work, he gets in the lift, gets out the bottom, and at the top of you flash back to the top of the stairs, where there's the bloke getting out of the lift and going in and knobbing his missus, So he's one of the sort of, but he kind of knows it's happening. He's just so ineffectual. He hasn't got the bottle to say anything about it, And he goes to work and he's sort of properly bullied at work, and he tries to buy coffees for everyone at work, and he gets stuck in a puddle. So Bunn sets him up. So we see what he's like. He's this beaten down, but it also makes him susceptible to the, as they say, you are susceptible to the influence of dark forces. And there's no sort of big mountaintop, falls on a holy, the demonic Bible he finds under the floorboards or anything. It's just suddenly he gets infected with this demon, and he goes on this rampage. And it starts obviously with these colleagues that have wronged him in the office. And one of them, there's a great image in there, which is he makes one of them vomit rats, like rabid rats come out as he's vomiting into the basin. And he says, you better undo your trousers because they're not just coming out your mouth. And it's like this lovely little comment as he walks off, sort of casually walks off. But he turns back to Stanley after that, but still remembers everything he's done. And he decides to go and see this clairvoyant. And that's where the interesting part of it happens. So I won't spoil it for anyone who's going to read it, because it's going to be a nice little series, I think. But that's where a change happens. So it's not just this bloke who's got a demon in him who turns into it. We've seen that story a million times, haven't we?
Yeah.
It's not just that. Something else happens. I think, in retrospect, I read it digitally. I'd probably read it as a trade, I think.
Okay.
I'm guessing it's going to be a short story series that will read well as a trade, like you get with Aftershock or someone like that.
Yeah.
Coming out of Dark Horse. Fran Gallen is at Fran FRAN _ Gallen GALAN _art at Fran Gallen art on Instagram. He's really jumped up into and I've been paying attention to him for a while now. He's a Spanish artist from Seville. And he's done some work on Extreme Carnage at Marvel, which is a thing kind of at the moment. I'd seen him on a book called Knights Temporal out of Aftershock, also with Cullen Bunn. You guys, I know you've probably had a look through the Aftershock one. It's one I sort of go and look at occasionally. It's got that, we said manga, but it's sort of manga, but it's also, there's that cartoony school from Italy, France and Spain as well, which we see in some Europe comics. We see that sort of slightly cartoony style, and it works for that as well. I'm going to say I found the colours a little too much. I didn't enjoy the colours. I don't know if there's a slight rush on around this, but I think he uses a lot of bright, luminescent purples and yellows as part of the actual art, and I don't think it quite works well enough in it. But from a line point of view, from an ink point of view, beautiful. Absolutely loved it. And I would have read this as a black and white book, I think. I'm not sure if that's the sort of thing that Dark Horse put out, but it is a really pretty book. So Lucky Devil only came out last week, so the second issue's up for pre-order, so I'm guessing in a couple of weeks it'll come out in shops. I'm going to probably buy the physical copy when I see it at Gosh next time I'm in there. But yeah, it's a good one. It's just a nice little find. Sometimes you find these series that aren't anything to do with anything else. You can hop on it and hop off it, and it's done. And the cover was doing the rounds on a few sites I saw. I'm not sure just from an advertising sort of thing, but I think from a few review sites looked at it, and I saw the cover pop up quite a few times. So I think people are paying attention to it, and well, they should, because Frank Gallen's a great artist. I think it's certainly somebody I'm going to watch in the future. Okay, smile on, guys.
Amazing.
Yeah, nice one.
Amazing. Yeah. My selection this week is an Instagram comic.
Oh. Is this one we were talking about?
No, it's not the one. No, it's not that one. Not that one. But we will. I think we will discuss that at some point. No, this is an ongoing story by Mark Pearce, who's an artist that I'm a huge fan of. He was the creator behind from Bristol. He's creator behind the series Ronin Dogs, which I've discussed in the past before. He's been since September. Well, actually not September last year, but I think September was when the prologue for this comic started and the story started in full. But yeah, he's been toiling away on this little sort of project, which is a sort of an epic sort of sci-fi. It's like Pacific Rim / anime / over the top creatures / kinetic action with a dose of just sort of bright colours and fun as well. This is just fucking awesome. The prologue, I mean, there's no strict synopsis for this, and one of the things I love about this, the energy of the book is Mark just having fun and just telling this story. The first chapter is called Chapter 1, A Day in the Life, and you're following one of the main characters doing their job. But the sort of setup for the whole sort of story is the prologue, which sort of says that in 1982, a group of radical scientists were working on a totally awesome project called Pizza Quick Cool. But during their final experiment, something went wrong, and they caused a rip in time and space, as you do when you're trying to deal with pizza and science. This disaster was termed the Void Birth. Our world was changed forever. The Void Birth caused a permanent thinning of the walls between dimensions. Strange rips in our reality started opening up, and strange things started coming through. Some of the things that came through were friendly, and humanity made alliances, etc. Some of the things were not so much. And basically, to deal with the influx of all the crazy shit that was coming through these rips in the dimensions, a new group was set up to deal with them, and they are called Voiders. Obviously, the beginning of that was how Mark had written it, and it merged into me absolutely brutalising his writing, because I realised halfway through, rather than just read it for yourself and see how he's put it. So you got your setup then for the world of it, and then it just starts with, it is very much a day in the life of this character who wakes up. They go to work, and you even sort of see their day, like where they stop for coffee. There's a wonderful sort of each panel of the comic is sort of a like, it's got a timestamp, like a digital clock timestamp, and you just see like they're having coffee one moment, an hour later they're having a gunfight with a monster that's trying to bite their head off, then the next moment they're chatting to someone else, and and it just sort of builds up. But there's so many sort of great creatures and designs. I love Mark's sort of artwork and just the power of, like, it's almost, there's a real energy to it without like the use of lots of like energy lines and like movement lines. It's just you can really feel when someone's like shooting something or moving through the air, and there's just like these really strange like liquidy sort of creatures and tentacles, and but there's a sense of fun as well. Like one of the main characters, who I believe her name is Amy, in order to deal with this creature that they're having trouble, like no matter how many times they shoot it, they can't deal with it. The acidity of lemons has something to do with how to get rid of it. So she goes to like a vending machine, and actually sort of, because it's super sci-fi sort of future, she gets from the vending machine she gets like a bullet, and then she gets a lemon and squeezes a lemon into the bullet and fires the bullet into the monster, which helps destroy it. There's so much lemon bullet. I mean, that much citrus would do anyone in. But it's very much one of those, go to the Instagram page, or on your phone, you scroll down to the bottom, and then just, because you can just read it all in one sort of list. It's a quick read, it's kinetic, but do it now, start at the beginning, and just have fun, because whenever there's a new panel or I want to say panel, they're essentially pages, aren't they, with Instagram in some ways? Yeah. It can be, and you're just following on, because it's I think now he's gotten to the point where there's a bit more dialogue with the characters, and things are building up, and it's a great time to jump on board. It's Voiders _comic on Instagram. He's got 108 posts, and not that many. He's just, I mean, he's sort of he doesn't shout about it all over the shop. Whereas this is a book that needs to be shouted about, because it's beautiful. He's just toiling away, making fantastic comics, and I want more people to discover this, because I think it would be a lovely printed book as well, somewhere down the line. But this is one of my go-to. So whenever it pops up on my Instagram feed, it just puts a smile on my face every time.
Gotcha.
And he's also an artist as well. I think I'm totally going to be, and apologies, Mark, but I'm totally going to steal a lot of your style for a lot of things, because it's just great fun. Yes, and you can follow him at MarkPearce82 on Twitter as well. And I believe
what is your Instagram again?
The comic is Voiders _comic.
Okay.
On Instagram, you can also follow.
I found it. Yeah.
Follow him on Instagram. He-Man is cool. In one word. that's who he is on Instagram as well.
Don't tell Kevin Smith.
He doesn't know who He-Man is. Oh, I said it. Internet.
Just crying again.
Yeah. Well, we all cry occasionally, but definitely follow that up and check that out because it's just great fun. And there you go. Lovely. Yeah, it's great stuff. Yeah,
that account Tony you pointed out today, that's absolutely fucking gem.
Which one's that, babes?
This is the odd.
The one that makes the video cases and the computer game
the action figure things. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the one that's done. It's done Robocop, but it's only it's the bit where he's been pulled in half, so it's just him without any arms or any legs.
And they've got in Goodfellas, you know, Tommy's mum, and she brings out the painting with the two dogs. One's looking left, one's looking right. And she's got that as like the action figure, and that's like one of the things she's got.
That's Scorsese's mum, isn't it?
Is it? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I like this. I like this picture. One dog's looking that way, the other dog's looking that way.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
And he's like, can I borrow this knife? And he says, can I borrow this knife off you?
Like that. Was it Henry Hill's like he's a bit traumatized. He got a dead body in the back.
They're eating spaghetti.
Yeah. He's like, what are you going to do?
I love that film. I love it. Yeah.
There was another because we did briefly mention it. If you follow Daily Obstruction,
oh, this is a killer.
On
love this one, don't we?
On Instagram, there was
when it's not being banned.
When it's not, because they genuinely did an absolutely phenomenal strip recently that had us in stitches. And then
did you get to see that before it got banned? Because I know I stuck it in. Oh, good. That's good.
Yes,
right,
yes, I did.
It got banned.
Yeah.
Yeah, first one, the first version of it.
There was
where he hangs himself.
Yeah, yeah. This and they had an outpouring of support about the strip, which is quite good. And because it's the latest one, the way they've adapted it is brilliant. It's still got the same story of like this artist going, it's no use. I'll never be as popular as artists that just draw cute, relatable animals or porn. Wait, that gives me an idea. And then
in the original,
there was an amazing punchline, dark as fuck, because the Instagram can't ban this. Where the creator, what did they do, Tony?
They hung themselves.
Yeah.
But you only saw the legs dangling, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was a good solution.
Yes, and he said the creator has gone back and just changed the last few panels where you see the person, even going to the point of like their legs are dangling through the air and a chair has fallen over, but they're doing chin-ups now. And the last panel is, got to strengthen my arms for all the hot furry fucking I'm about to draw.
Something we've all said.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, beautiful. So check out that one as well, because that's just a great. I mean, apart from that strip, it's just a great account anyway. I think that one. So yes, lots of comics.
I'll tell you what. Follow Bob Fingerman as well on Instagram at the moment.
Yeah, I mentioned last week about he drew the Red Letter Media crew.
Oh yes,
he's doing one a day at the moment. Absolutely brilliant, man.
Yeah.
Lovely stuff.
That's another show note for me, of which there will be many, and we hope you check them out, and we hope you enjoyed this week's episode of us just putting the world to rights again, like we normally do. Actually, we don't put the world to rights. We're sort of look at the world and then go, "What is all this? I don't understand it."
Yeah, we're not the kind of the hot topic for news, are we?
No,
no. Reflect. You know, like kind of have I got news for you, but kind of like a shitter version. That's kind of like us.
With more boobs.
Yeah. Thank God this isn't a video show.
We did have an allegedly at the front of the show.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Is that all it takes? We just put one allegedly, and then we're safe.
Yeah. And then wry smile, and that's about it.
Yeah.
That's. Have I got news for you in a nutshell, basically?
Yeah. Allegedly. But we hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If there's anything you want us to talk about or discuss, or maybe I just got someone's name wrong, you can get in touch with us. You can email us awesomecomicspod@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter @theawesomepod, where we will be retweeting, showing some love for great comics and more as the weeks go on, as the rest of the year goes. And I can't believe we're almost in September. It's unbelievable.
I know, man. What's happened?
I know. It's a strange time loop we're in.
I haven't seen you guys this year, have I?
Yeah. Didn't we see each other earlier? We went for Vince's. Was that
last year?
No, that was last year.
Fucking hell.
Exactly. Yeah. But soon. The signs
TV.
will align, and the great sign of the apocalypse will be upon us, because all three of us will be in one building at the same time. That's right.
There'll be a few dead strippers at that event. I can see that now.
And paint strippers, of course.
Yes.
Anyway, and those people might have checked out our Facebook, facebook.com/awesomecomicspodcast, and joined the community chat group Awesome Comics Talk on Facebook, which is a great community of people just posting up great chat, as well as on the Slack. We have a Slack
It's
chat.
on fire. There's been about 8 messages while we've been recording.
Which, yeah. Well, I mean, have you been replying to them while we've been recording?
No, of course not, babes. I listen to you all the time. You and Dan. I pay attention to you both without stop.
You stumbled over your words there, Tony. We have to talk about this
because I was lying.
Yeah.
Just looking at some of these accounts on that Readful things, like some of these figures, they're brilliant.
Yeah.
So join the group Awesome Comics Talk. Quick, I need to get to the end of this before the show goes off the rails.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So thank you for listeners, whether it was on the website awesomecomics.podbean.com. If you listen to us on Apple's podcasts, subscribe and leave a review. It helps get the word out about the show and what we talk about every week, and all the great books and creators that we talk about every week. If you listen to us on any other networks like Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher, Podnose, Podknife, what other networks we on, Tony?
We're on Pod Spongy Sperm Couch.
Oh well, you added 2 different bits to that, did you?
Yeah, you like that?
No, it's nice. I don't know.
It's got something to do with Dan's background.
Yeah,
he keeps having to change. It makes us
Amusing.
laugh.
Well, he says it's his background. He says it's one he has to change. Either that, or it's his normal background that he then changes. What do you think?
He has, yeah. Sometimes he comes from Fake Taxi, but I don't even know what that is.
No, I did that one where I had the huge breasted woman just to get a laugh out of you two, and then I was stuck with it. For fucking weeks.
Just fucking karma. That's what that is.
I did the same thing with this background, and now I'm getting the same thing happening week after week.
Yeah. Look, it's just a couch.
Every week without fail, the first things I hear Dan Butcher say is, "Oh, it's that same fucking background again."
Yeah.
But when I'm not hearing that, where can people find us online, etc.? Dan,
You can find me on
I caught him there.
Yeah.
And you
Is it in
can
a
read
Twix?
Vanguard at vanguardcomic.com, and you can also check out the stuff I'm doing for Viper 2 on the Vanguard Comic Patreon.
I see
which
Viper also went on Comixology this week.
Indeed, do. Yeah, on Wednesday, I put it on there ages ago, and they didn't say anything, so I chased them. I said, "Oh, where's this coming onto the platform?" And they said, "Oh, we'll do it right now," and it was up on Wednesday.
Oh, that's nice, because Drawn Under the Influence has been submitted as well.
I've got my
Yeah.
contact inside
Oh, have you?
Comixology. Yeah.
I get you.
God, you sound like a spy, Dan.
But no, just contact customer services.
Oh, right, okay, right, yeah.
All right, Gazer.
I've got someone in customer services that I email, and they just get straight back to me rather than the generic.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's what you need, isn't it? Yeah.
I was trying. There were so many jokes that I could make about that, but I'm not going to. Tony, where can people find you?
Patreon.com/tribute press.
Brilliant. And you can follow me online at Jester Diablo on Instagram and Twitter. Normally I would say thanks to our guests for joining us, but we've got no guests this week, so thank you, Dan. Thank you, Tony, for joining me this week.
Thank you, Vince.
Our pleasure.
It's been an absolute gem of a week.
Ups and downs.
Ups and downs. It's been an emotional roller coaster. There was a real narrative twist. Who could have seen that ending coming, eh?
Yeah.
Not me.
No.
Substack.
Indeed.
That's got to be the new joke, apart from OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Find me on Substack.
Do they don't do the adult stuff?
Give it
I think
niche,
you can get it on there.
niche
so.
material.
Yeah. Give it time. If money's to be made, there will be.
Yeah.
There will be.
Porn will follow.
Yeah. As soon as the internet was discovered, then porn just
I've
exploded.
got a load of RoboCop comics today. I'm going to read them tonight.
Ah, brilliant. enjoy that while Tony's going off to do that. Me and Dan are just going to have a bit of a cuddle on the sofa. Go forth, have a wonderful week, no matter what you're doing. Come back next week, same bat time, same bat channel, and we'll be talking. Well, who knows what we'll talk about?
Bollocks once again.
Yeah, but until then, from Dan, Tony, and myself, have a brilliant week. Stay happy, stay healthy, keep loving and making comics.
Yes.
And from everyone here, what should they actually do, guys?
Stay awesome.
Stay awesome.
Ooh. Go on, we've got to get back on the training, guys. Come on.
That's right.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Well, no, I'm a perfectionist. Can't you tell from this haircut? Bye, everyone.
Perfection.
Bye.
See you later.